Hi, this is Bryan Hyde, and I'm happy to bring you your latest update from the Bundy trial going on in Las Vegas. So Ryan Bundy today, this was his chance to do his opening statements, and anybody who has seen Ryan Bundy operate in the courtroom has got to come away a little bit impressed. People who have seen his picture in the news and who draw a conclusion based on his appearance or think, well, he has a cowboy hat, there's no way this guy could be that smart. When he is in the courtroom, he commands a certain amount of respect. There's a humility there, but there is a knowledge, and today apparently he was able to address the jurors and made a very powerful opening statement. Now, you got to remember, the consequences that Ryan and the others are facing are extremely serious. I mean, it could amount to decades in prison. And yet Ryan has chosen to represent himself, and that I think that shows the confidence that he has, not only in his cause, but also in the fact that telling the truth is the best way to go. And I think he trusts that the jury is going to see that the truth is what needs to happen here. So the consensus in the courtroom was that Ryan is exceptional. I've heard people remark that they can't believe that this guy doesn't have official training as an attorney. He has a lot riding on this, but he hit it right out of the park, and he hit on some very important facts. Some of the things he brought up were the Constitution and the principles of freedom that actually brought his family to Nevada in the 1880s in the first place. And he talked about how for 20 plus years his family has petitioned local officials to help them whenever they ran into conflict with the feds, where the feds were abridging or treading on their rights. And as we saw, even in 2014, they petitioned to local officials, but local officials either said, oh, our hands are tied, or there's just nothing that we can do. But Ryan spent a lot of time talking about rights, and this is really important because he spelled out what it is that makes a right a right. And it doesn't matter if we're talking about your right to water rights or grazing rights, or whether it's the right to assemble or the right to petition for redress or right to express yourself. A right isn't a right unless you claim it, you use it, and you defend it. You have to do that, or you lose those rights, no matter what that right is. So one of the things that Ryan was trying to get across to the jury was the fact that this is not about cows. It's not about grazing fees, which they've offered to pay. Cliven's attorney actually showed a copy of the check Cliven offered to pay to his local authorities, who said we can't take it. And the money amount, we're not talking about a massive amount of money, especially when you consider the type of budget that the federal government is operating on and the kind of deficit spending that they engage in. See, Ryan brought up the fact that there were 53 ranchers in Clark County at one point. At this point, there is one, and that's Cliven. What happened to these other ranchers? Why did they all go out of business? And the answer to that is found in how they were regulated, how they were treated, and how, in many cases, they were strong-armed by the Bureau of Land Management. And their business, the Bureau's business, has become putting ranchers out of business at the behest of various environmental groups. What this case is going to establish, Ryan said, is it's going to establish whether or not we are subjects, servants, or slaves to the government. That's what this case is about. It's about whether there is a proper upper limit to government power and proper functions for that federal government, or whether there aren't. So those are some of the things that are at stake. Oh, by the way, Ryan finished his opening comments by inviting the jurors to listen to the Spirit of the Lord. He invited them to listen to the Spirit of freedom, and he invited them to listen to the still small voice. Ryan Payne's attorney will likely make his opening statements a little bit later on this afternoon. We'll have a report coming up for you at 5:30. At 5:30 my time and 4:30 Nevada time. But it's possible they may be able to get one witness on for the prosecution today. But that's what has happened so far. In a nutshell, Ryan Bundy has made a very powerful opening statement, and it will be very interesting to see what impact this has had on the jury pool. We'll be back to talk to you again at 4:30.